All right, it broke up. We had bad connection. I'm on pretty bad Wi-Fi, so I'll try it again. Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Kurtz with Fossil Crate, and with me is my special guest,
Taylor Oswald.
And we're going to talk about some post-fight commentary of the two matches that you might have just watched. So let's just jump right in. These were the championship rounds. So in the herbivore side of the bracket, the herbivore Chomp came down to my beloved #1 seed Diplodocus, I'm a sauropod homer, against the #3 seed Ankylosaurus. And in the closest matchup voting-wise of the tournament, Diplodocus lost by less than 20 votes. It came down to the wire. And in the matchup, Diplodocus tried to use range, bounced off Ankylosaur. Diplodocus kicked, tried to flip it, did not work. Rose up and came down and tried to break its back, which may have worked, but Ankylosaurus was a little able to always deflect it slightly, and he just kept chopping the other direction. That club just wailed away, and he chopped the tree down and won. So that's how the fight played out on our play-by-play. But I want to get your thoughts on that whole epic battle.
That's kind of what I had guessed was going to happen. Ankylosaurus, we've talked about it before, the defensive specialist. It's heavily armored, huge armor plates, spikes, that club. It's just so hard to take down. And these things, they were living alongside T-Rex, and they knew how to take care of defending themselves, take care of threats, and that's what we saw.
And in this case, the weight classes worked the way they were supposed to. They were both 10 tons. This was not a gigantic Diplodocus, a full adult, which I would stand by would trample the Ankylosaurus at double plus its weight, potentially. But in this matchup, you're right. The chopping the tree down, the impervious armor defense won a championship this year. And Ankylosaurus, what a great ambassador to the sport. I'm very excited to watch if he can become a defending Chomp next year when he automatically invited back. Now, the other side of our oh, absolutely. But the other side of our bracket, oh my goodness. We've been waiting for this since the day the brackets came out. #1 seed Spinosaurus, #2 seed Giganotosaurus. Spinosaurus is the heavier animal in this particular matchup, so Giganotosaurus couldn't bully anyone anymore. And the play-by-play went down as they charged over. Giganotosaurus tried to bully. The bully got bullied, was pushed backwards, but just kept chomping. He was slashed and cut up and sniped by that long snout, but he just kept taking out chunks of flesh. Spinosaurus did this giant body splash, put Giganotosaurus on the ground, but Giganotosaurus went down holding the throat. Ultimately, as the Spinosaurus blood left the body, ripped the throat out, and Giganotosaurus is your new carnivore Chomp.
It's exciting. I was hoping that Giganotosaurus would pull through. My bracket has been destroyed throughout these matches. I lost Mastodon, I lost Utah Raptor really early on, and it was just sort of a lot of points lost for me. But I had Giga winning the carnivores, and he pulled through for me. So I'm very happy about that. And I thought it was going to be a close match. They're both huge animals. Spino's a bit bigger. Weight matters in these things. Like you said, he can bully the bully. But I've said this before about Spinosaurus. It isn't built especially for brawling. It's more of a fisherman. He's a big fisherman. He's a fisherman you don't want to cross, but he is a fisherman. He's not a fighter class, you might say. Giganotosaurus, he takes down sauropods. He has those really wide, sharp, blade-like teeth for just slicing flesh. Spinosaurus's teeth are conical. They're good for holding on to stuff, but not as good for cutting you open. And in a fight like that, that's really prolonged, blood loss is not going to be Spino's friend. And that's what we saw happen. The what do they call it? I'm blanking here. The bite of Giganotosaurus, those slashing teeth really did what they were evolved to do. Now, I was worried about Spinosaurus's arms because it does have more reach than the Giganotosaurus. Like a lot of other big theropods, Giganotosaurus's arms are proportionally pretty small. That's a trend that we see. Spinosaurus kind of bucks that trend. I mean, Spinosaurus bucks a lot of trends. Honestly, he's sort of in a niche of his own. But those arms with those big claws, those had me concerned. Is that gives him a bit more reach. He has that long snout. Like you said, he can kind of snipe things. But ultimately, it wasn't enough. And once again, I almost feel bad for Spinosaurus. This is the third year in a row he's been taken out in the carnivore final. Maybe next time. But I think Giganotosaurus is going to be a hard act to beat next time. I'm guessing he'll automatically be invited back as well since he's the Chomp. Let's see if he can defend it.
And the Giganotosaurus in this case, he only won by less than 50 votes. It was the second closest match in the tournament at the end. So we've got these two very close finals that we had, which was exciting for me to see. In fact, throughout the day, it was going back and forth. I didn't know who was going to win. We had to hold the press as we write out our release, and we couldn't write either release until the votes were counted. It was amazing. So with Giganotosaurus advancing, you said something earlier, very important, which is it's designed to slash flesh off sauropods. And if Giganotosaurus had won against Diplodocus, oof, I'd be really feeling sweat and bullets for my Diplo.
I give it to Giga easy if it was against Diplodocus.
It's up against something that it didn't have to face. It's up against Ankylosaurus, which did face T-Rex. I'm not. If we go in real life, I don't know how Giganotosaurus can take out. Ankylosaurus is heavier by a couple tons. It's longer. It's just massive armor. It's defensive to the bone, literally.
It is. If it was, if Ankylosaurus had been in the tournament last year against T-Rex, I'd probably have T-Rex winning. He is a tank killer and also kind of a tank himself. He can deal a hit and he can take it too. Though even with T-Rex, and Ankylosaurus is no easy prey. Realistically, they probably would have just tried to keep away from each other. Giganotosaurus is not equipped to handle Ankylosaurs, especially Ankylosaurus. If it was just armor, maybe he could try to flip him. Giganotosaurus has height on his side. I think the length Ankylosaurus is like 25 feet. Giganotosaurus is around 40. He's got length, he's got height, but with that club and the armor, that combo, that defensive combo is going to be really tough because all the time that Giga is trying to flip him or try to bully him, that club is going to be swinging at his legs, his face, and you take a club to the face, you're out. Those clubs will shatter bone. That's what they were meant for, and that'll take him out. And with Giga's teeth being designed to cut flesh, it's not an armor piercer. I have to give it to Ankylosaurus. As much as I love Giganotosaurus, I'm so excited that he is the new Chomp. Had T-Rex been in the running again, I would have gone with T-Rex. every time, but he's retired, and I think that's good. It lets some new blood into the spotlight, and I'm happy to see that. Giga is another one of my favorites. It's good to see him getting some love, and he won the carnivore bracket, so
Can't take that away no matter what happens.
He's the chomp. This is just for funsies.
Absolutely.
But I have to give it to Ankylosaurus. He has played just a solid game. Literally, solid is his strategy. He's the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the tournament. Pure defense. Now he's about to take on Darth Vader.
It's going to be interesting because we also have, because it's voted on by all manner of folks, Giganotosaurus is immensely popular. And Bumpy from Camp Cretaceous is immensely popular. I am super excited to see how this goes down. I don't know. I think Ankylosaurus is going to take it. I think the public has shown every time they voted, it's been a very thoughtful vote. And I think they call, as much as I know Diplodocus, I loved him, they've called the fights. I think for the most part, they've agreed with what all of us, what we've come up with. And I just am excited in a couple days to know who the winner is. So we'll bring you back for some post-ultimate Chomp commentary and see if we called it on Ankylosaurus or if Giganotosaurus comes through with those side spikes. He's not going to be able to flip them over. Has been our argument so far, but maybe he'll come up with something clever. I've got some ideas on how he could win, but I'm going to keep him quiet just to say that if he does win the vote, I've got how he could do it.
Nice. I'm rooting for Ankylosaurus. That's who I've got on my bracket. It pains me to root against Giganotosaurus, who I've rooted so hard for this tournament, but I've got to go with what my gut says would win, and I've got to go Ankylo. Well, I guess.
Thank you, Taylor, for all the commentary. It's always a pleasure. So I'm Dr. Brian Curtis with Fossil Crates saying thank you kindly. Adios. Hello. It's Dr. Brian Curtis here with Fossil Crates, and I'm with two of my faves.
I'm Colin Boisvert.
And I'm Aiden Rouse.
And we're here today to talk about the post-fight action of the of the carnivore round and the herbivore round and our now new chomps. So let's start with the herbivores, because I'm a sauropod guy and I was rooting Diplodocus all the way. And in one of the closest match of this tournament and the second closest match in the history of the championship, Diplodocus was defeated by less than 20 votes by Ankylosaurus, and it broke my heart. And I think the voters got it right. I hate to say. So what did you guys think of the fight?
We knew this was going to be a tough one going in, right? Diplodocus had that size and could take a beating, but with Ankylosaurus's low to the ground stature and therefore using its club like its cousin to just destroy the shins of Diplodocus and bring it down to its level, we kind of knew Ankylosaurus had the really defensive capabilities with some offense to go in and take out this massive behemoth. So it was going to be rough either way, but I do think that the proper outcome occurred, right? That Ankylosaurus probably would beat a 10-ton Diplodocus, though it's difficult to see. I also enjoy sauropods, so yeah.
For me, I mean, it's the battle of the juggernauts, right? You have an animal that has, kind of size literally on its side versus an animal like what Colin said, it's low to the ground, has that armor. But really, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we all knew who was going to win, right? It's a big, beefy tail that if it got, that many punches in, it could take out the larger juggernaut, basically. So, weapons versus really true, I guess, bio weapons outside of it, its size itself,
And they were both the same weight. That was the thing. They were both 10 tons. If this had been a full adult Diplodocus, I think Diplodocus literally walks all over the smaller Ankylosaur, just crushes him. But same sized animals in terms of weight, mass matters. And in this case, you're right. I'm sad, but at the same time, it was an epic battle. I watched throughout the 24-hour cycle, and Diplodocus was never more than 3% behind and was never more than 1% ahead. And it seesawed the entire day. But I started getting nervous with 2 hours to go because Ankylosaurus had 20 votes ahead. And I was like, uh-oh, it's not looking well. But what a great matchup. And now Ankylosaurus is the 2022 herbivore chomp. So let's talk about the other side of the bracket, the carnivores. We had number 1 seed Spinosaurus entering the finals for a 3rd straight year against the number 2 seed Giganotosaurus. And he's been running wild through the tournament, as has Spinosaurus for the most part. So the bigger animal, heavier Spinosaurus, tried to do the same moves. And the Spinosaurus also extraordinarily close voting. Less than 50 votes separated the two combatants. And I was really shocked to watch. Spinosaurus would be up, then Giganotosaurus would be up. It was a seesaw battle. No one ever got ahead by more than 2 percentage points either way. It was incredible, the popularity and the closeness of these two animals. So what do you think of the outcome there? Did they get it right?
I think, respectfully, it's, that 50-point, kind of gap between the two is a very respectful call. I think Spinosaurus had a very fair chance here. I think it fought a hard battle, but I mean, with the whole popularity of the new Giganotosaurus in the media and such, I mean, everyone's just really raved up about it because now people are looking into and seeing really what primal carnivore rage can do is, to, an animal that's rudimentally just a large crocodilian with a sail on its back. So I think it was close, but I think ever since the beginning we could kind of pick and choose who really was actually going to win this.
Yeah, I think Giganotosaurus, right? Yes, it's coming off of the media hype, right? But this was a truly terrifying animal, and I think Spinosaurus, right, wouldn't be able. Giga could use its jaws to just bite, especially that spine, and just enrage Spinosaurus, and then it could back away because it has a little bit more speed than Spinosaurus, who might be a little bit slower. And we know, right, its limbs are a little bit closer to the ground, right? So it is, Spino may be all about that power, but Giga's got some power combined with flesh slicing teeth and a little bit of speed. So that combination, I think, would just be able to come in and take out Spinosaurus bit by bit by bit.
And in the fight, Spinosaurus decided, Giganotosaurus ran straight up and immediately started biting. Spinosaurus tried to put him on the ground and do the lay and splay philosophy, and it just didn't work. And ripped the throat of Spinosaurus out, Giganotosaurus did at the end, and then got up, just triumphant, but barely. And I think I speak for all of us. Had they gone the other way, Diplodocus and Spinosaurus won, we wouldn't think that they were robbed. There was no, any one of these were worthy. They were the excellent, amazing beasts, and they were all, we did our jobs as the selection committee. We rated them, got them to the finals, and what an incredible event. And now we have the ultimate championship matchup, and it's really one that I am delighted to see how the votes come in, because Giganotosaurus, unstoppable tank killer of the sauropod persuasion, but never met anything like the armored Ankylosaurus. And on the other hand, Ankylosaurus, it cut its osteoderms on T-Rex teeth, which twice took out Giganotosaurus. What do y'all think of the ultimate chomp battle?
So, if in a realistic study, because Ankylosaurus lived at the time of T-Rex, but if we look at the design of T-Rex's teeth versus Giganotosaurus's teeth, I mean, T-Rex's teeth are designed to puncture. Think of it like an alligator trying to bite a turtle, right? It has all that jaw power, which is meant to crush bone. Giganotosaurus doesn't necessarily have that. It's a long skull, but it just doesn't have the power to crush through that thick armor plating. Now, to kind of converse off of that, Ankylosaurus isn't a turtle. It doesn't have a big shell. It has osteoderms, but it's not fully shelled out. So there are weak spots within that armor where Giganotosaurus can just slide that big steak knife of a tooth through and become the ultimate victor. But I really think it's going to be the battle of the new dinosaur fans versus the classic dinosaur fans. You got the old favorite Ankylosaurus with the big armored tail versus, like what I mentioned before, with all the media hype around Giganotosaurus.
Interesting take.
You got the new bad boy on the block versus one of the OG dinosaurs that we all kind of grew up loving and such. So I think it's going to be, I'm interested to see what the fans are going to come out and say.
I believe and would like to think that Giga will win, but it is a very tough call. Realistically, right, Giga, even if cautious at first with Ankylosaurus, because it's something it would have never seen before, right, may not have the tool set necessarily to flip Ankylosaurus and then, get at the soft parts that it needs to in order to take it out, right? So this is a tough matchup. I think this is going to be a really, 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 this could be the closest vote count, I think, of the championship. Because you have strong opinions, it seems, on both sides. People, right, who strongly voted for Ankylosaurus and maybe like, I want the herbivore to win. And then you're going to have the strong carnivore boys who are going to be like, I want the carnivore to win. Even though we know that in nature, that doesn't always happen.
I have to share with you one person, Taryn B. Taryn B actually posted on the blog, her personal blog, that please everyone vote Ankylosaurus, and was trying to get her people. She actually was DMing me because she knows my sauropod love, apparently. I don't have it, so, and was talking almost trash, saying Ankylosaurus win. And I had someone sending me DMs throughout the day, and then today when I announced it, she had a whole series of just laughing at me faces. It was genius. I truly appreciated the gamesmanship. So you're right. There's some hardcore fans, and a number of people that didn't vote in the bracket. They missed the brackets on YouTube. They were putting their brackets in, and there's a lot of love for Ankylosaurus out there in the general populace. So I personally, I'm hoping Ankylosaur wins. My bracket, I picked Giganotosaurus because I thought Diplodocus was going to be there, and a sauropod killer against the similar sized sauropod. That's really going to work real well. But Ankylosaurus, I'm excited. I hope it wins. And if Ankylosaurus wins, it does all kinds of crazy things to the bracket. So if Giganotosaurus wins, the bracket pretty much locked in the way the points went down. But if Ankylosaurus wins, it adds this whole nother level of intrigue. So I'm excited. I thank you both throughout the tournament, having your commentary. It's been wonderful. Colin, Aiden, thank you both so much. For me and my partner in the play-by-play, T-Rex, who is still fired up at Giganotosaurus. Excited to see if Giganotosaurus wins. I don't know what he's going to do. This should be interesting.
He's going to leave the booth and be all, let me at him.
So Dr. Brian Curtis saying thank you all kindly. Adios.